Welcome back to another video. My name is Marshall with Cranston IT, your Addigy experts. In today's video, we are going over part 2 of setting up Addigy identity. Today's video will be covering setting up the user experience, what that looks like to the user, and we'll run through some scenarios of password syncing. In part 1, we went over how to connect your identity provider to Addigy identity. If you want to watch that video, it'll be linked down in the description below. So once we're in Addigy and in our identity settings, under Customize Identity towards the bottom of the page, we have a few options we can choose from. We can choose to block the setup assistant, which is the macOS setup assistant, while Addigy gets its part ready. We can choose to create new users as standard or admins. We can allow users to basically get around the Addigy login window in a couple different ways. This can be either allowing them to choose the local account credentials or allowing them to leave the Addigy login window and revert back to macOS. And we can choose to allow users to sync identity with already created accounts. That option is going to depend on your environment and whether you're pushing this out to only new computers or if you're trying to set this up for users that are already in place. You can also choose whether or not you're going to collect user data when a user signs into Addigy identity. You can read more about that on Addigy's site. And finally, you can add a background image and your own custom logo to the login window, which I personally think really finishes it off and makes it look really cool and nice, and just kind of gives it a really professional login experience look. I'll show you what that looks like in our environment. Once you click those changes, you can click Save, and you're basically done. That will get filtered out to your devices in their next deployment cycle. We're going to jump over to some screenshots I have here of the user experience. First up here, we have what the login window looks like. So the login window is going to be a little bit different depending on your identity provider. Since I'm using Microsoft, it pulls up the Microsoft looking login window here, but if you're using Google, it'll look a little bit different. This blue and green background is the image I uploaded, so that you can change as you like. Up here in the top right, this little person icon and the little 3-dot icon are where we are going to be able to pick and choose the way users can bypass or not bypass the Addigy login window. So if we start with that little person icon here, what that looks like, if you click on that, that brings up this alternate login window, which is just local login. So this is just a drop down. You'd be able to click on that. The user could select the user they would like to use and type in their password. This is helpful if you have a lot of users that want to be able to work offline or don't have an internet connection sometimes when they're working. So this is what it looks like if a user doesn't have an internet connection. It gives you the option to turn Wi-Fi on, or again, depending on how you have it set up, you have the icons up here to bypass the login window. The second option is this 3-dot option here. And that gives you two things. One, it lets you change the Wi-Fi network you're on up here at the top, as well as you can scan for more networks. It lets you quit the organization login. That will just go right back to the regular macOS login window. And then here you have your power down options: shut down, restart, and sleep. This is what it looks like when a user successfully logs in. It says, welcome back. This image is our logo, so you'd be able to upload your own logo in that section in Addigy. What does it look like for both new users and existing users to sign in? If you have existing users you're pushing this out to and they are syncing their accounts, this is the window that will show up. It will basically say, hey, select what local account you want to be able to sync this to. Now, if this is a user that's never signed into this computer before, down here they'd be able to create a new account. That would be created either as admin or standard, depending on what you set up in Addigy. So what does it look like if a user changes their password? If a user changes their password, they will log in with their new password at the identity window. Once that happens, they will get this message, which is just telling them that, hey, you need to update your local password because the passwords aren't matching. So once they do this and once it sees that they match, it'll let them log in as normal. Another caveat is if File Vault's enabled. If File Vault's enabled, the user will technically have to log in twice after a reboot. First time it'll look like a normal macOS login window. That unlocks the file vault volume. Then they'll get the Addigy identity login window and can log in as we've talked about. Along those notes, Addigy Identity is also syncing the local login for the macOS account, the file vault password, and the keychain password. So all three of those will be in sync with their identity login. Thanks for watching today's video. If you guys have any questions about Addigy Identity, Addigy, MDM in general, feel free to let me know. We are happy to help you come up with solutions for your business. I can be reached at Marshall_CIT on the Mac Admin Slack channel, Marshall@cranstoninc.com via email, and our website's cranstonit.com. Thanks for watching.